This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the pre-election presentation. My name is Mitch Duval. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend either in person or live on the computer virtually. Just a quick note that we're not going to be diving into the election process itself, but more of what the RM of Reach Out is all about and how we're going to move forward from here. Again, the presentation is live and it's also going to be being recorded because what we're going to do is we're also going to make this available on our website tomorrow morning. So if you're not able to participate, you could go back, or if you missed something out of the presentation, you could always go back and check it out on our website. So with that, we will proceed and I will start sharing my screen here. Hopefully we don't have any technical difficulties. More user error than anything else. So there we are tonight, and I am Mitch, and we'll get going here. So as part of the presentation I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to talk to you about some terminology that we use in the municipal world. Talk a little bit about the arm of Reach Out as a whole. We are, as a municipality, born from the province. The province are the ones who created us way back when. So there's a lot of legislation to understand and go through. I'll just give you a very high level experience of that. We'll talk about the roles of council, the mayor, and CEO and administration, and how we all work together as a team. Council direction. When you're on council, there's a lot of committees, there's a lot of time commitments and meetings taking place. Of course, there's compensations for being an elected official. And I'll talk a little bit about election and the process and what's required. So as we go along, if I'm not covering enough for you, please stop me, ask questions. I encourage questions and participation as best as we can here. So terminology, you'll see these words if you're elected from time to time. An act is basically a provincial law. It's adopted by the province of Manitoba, and as I said, municipalities are created by the province. So we have to adhere to little brother or big brother. We're the little brother, and that's how things work. Bylaws are basically legislation that are passed by municipalities, and every bylaw requires 3 readings. It's a 3-step process to ensure that council can deliberate. If they think it's good, they give it first reading. They go home, they think about it, and maybe if it's not quite right, then they come back, they give it 2nd reading, and they defeat the bylaw on 2nd reading. Or if they approve, they keep on to 2nd and 3rd reading, etc., etc. Resolutions are basically decisions or a motion made by council at a council meeting, and it's voted on at that meeting. You'll hear the term in camera. So in camera is basically a meeting that's held behind closed doors, where the general public is not permitted. When council is behind closed doors, they discuss confidential matters. It stays confidential. It's supposed to stay confidential until a decision is made. The decision cannot be made behind closed doors. It's got to come back in open session of council and make the decision at that point in time. Member of council, obviously, I think it's fairly clear that it's a person elected or appointed by council. So if there's a ward that is empty or there's missing representation somewhere, council could always appoint after the election. And a municipality is not only an RM, a rural municipality, but it could be a city, a town, a village. So there's 137 of us in the province. So the city of Winnipeg is a municipality. They are having their elections the same day, October 26th. So the municipality of Richat, the RM of Richat, became a municipality way back in 1881. Not sure what the population base was at that point in time, but the current 2021 census is just under the 7,500 mark, and that's up from the 2011 census, 2016 census of 11.8%. The assessment value for the RM of Richat is $585 million. So let's just say there's a big typhoon and everything gets wiped out in the municipality. There's a value of portion value of $585 million. We operate with a $7.4 million budget. We have assets in over $61.5 million, and we currently have approximately 23 plus or minus full-time employees. Along with those full-time employees, we also have a very good dedicated volunteer fire department of approximately 45 members. So legislation overview, coming back to provincial acts and whatnot, the main act that municipalities deal with and that councils deal with is the Municipal Act. The last major revision of that act occurred back in 1997. And yes, I'm old enough to have been there when it did happen. So it authorizes the existence of municipal government. Councils can only do what is authorized in the act. So there's a section in there that dictates the spheres of jurisdiction. What can you do, what can't you not do? If it's not clear, we always have support from the province. We phone, we find out, can we do this, can we do that, and we proceed accordingly. I did talk about closed meetings. So the act ensures that municipalities operate in an open, transparent fashion so that the public is aware of what's going on, with the exception of items that go into closed session. Municipal Assessment Act. This one basically grants authority for assessing properties in the municipality for the purpose of taxation. So these services are provided by the province. So when we calculate taxes, we use assessment values of property. This is determined by the province. So oftentimes we'll hear the comment, well, I want to appeal my taxes. Well, you really can't appeal taxes. What you want to do is appeal the assessment value of your property, because that is what we use to determine the amount of taxes being laid out. Another thing is that if you're not happy with the assessment value, there's something called the Board of Revision, and councils usually appear on that board, and that is to hear assessment appeals from property owners, and this happens on a yearly basis. And just for your information, October 12th, 2022, if you appeal your assessment, that is the date that will be scheduled for the hearing. And these are for 2023 assessment values projecting into the future, because that's what we're going to be using for calculations ahead of time. The other fun act that we have to deal with is the Planning Act. And the Planning Act basically gives authority to municipalities on how to address development. So if you consider planning like an onion has different layers to it. So on the outside, you have what's called your development plan. And it's basically just the foundation of planning. And we participate with the RM of Macdonald to create what's called the Macdonald-Richat Planning District. So as a whole, there's general guidelines for development. So once you peel off that layer, you fall into a smaller area, which we would call the zoning bylaw. And the zoning bylaw is more specific as it deals with the municipality and areas of the municipality that lie within. They could be commercial, they could be residential areas, industrial, agricultural areas, but we've narrowed down the gap a little bit Further to that, within the zoning, if you peel off that later, there's also items called variations, conditional uses that let you even dictate more as to what you could do with that property. Councils also deal with subdivisions. So if people have a piece of land and want to split it somehow or reorganize it, the subdivision is circulated to the province. The province makes their commitments, their comments, and it comes back to council for final decisions. And I talked a little bit about the conditional uses and variations, but council are the decision makers for those steps as well. One that we hope not to see too often is the Municipal Council Conflict of Interest Act. So if you succeed to be an elected official, you must always declare your assets and interest to the municipality. This document then becomes public, again, transparency. Whenever an issue may arise on the council agenda that you may gain either financial benefits or some kind of even indirect benefits, the members should declare an interest and excuse themselves from the vote, and not only from the vote, but also from the participation of the debate. So just as an example, just because you know Cousin Ed in town, that doesn't mean that you're in a position of conflict. Hard to do in small communities where everybody's related to everybody, but that's just part of the game. But if Cousin Ed owns half of a gravel company and you own the other half of a gravel company, and the municipality is debating on who to give the gravel contract to, I'm sorry, but councillors Ed Cousins would have to excuse themselves from the vote. So the roles of council are pretty much dictated in the Municipal Act. Councils are here to develop and evaluate policies and programs of the municipality. The powers and functions are there in the Municipal Act for them to carry out, and it's expressly given to council by legislation, and that's section 82 if somebody wants to go and look at the act, but I'm not going to spend too much time in there. Council and administration really should work as a team, each with their own distinct roles, but yet working together for the interest of the public. So in general, you're going to look at the well-being and interests of the municipalities, of the residents, participate and evaluate programs and policies, participate in the meetings. Just don't show up to the meetings and be a stump on the log. Participate. This is the opportunity to voice your opinions and concerns. There's nothing wrong with a healthy debate at the council table. And when it is time to keep matters in closed meetings quiet, in confidence, it's expected that that be adhered to. The role of head of council is very similar to the rest of council members, with the exception that he or she provides leadership to the group. For the most part, they are the chair of the council meetings, so they will guide and moderate the council meetings. And there could be other duties that could be assigned to that person, whether it's by council or in the legislation. I know for this council, the current mayor is the spokesperson of the municipality, the media representative. So any media concerns, are redirected to the mayor. The role of the Chief Administrative Officer, that is me, CAO. So basically, I'm responsible for the administration of the municipality. I am responsible to ensure that all policies are carried out. Usually after a council meeting, I'll make myself a list of things to do, likely throw it at all my staff to carry out and make me look good. But at the end of the day, it's to carry out the decisions of council. Part of that as well is two-way communication, informing council on the operations and what's going on in the municipality, because sometimes we could get calls here at the office that may not get to the councilors, so we try to keep everybody abreast of what's going on in the neighborhood. I'm also responsible for all the municipal employees, unless council deems it otherwise. We do have an organizational chart, which helps lay out who reports to who. But as any other job in the market out there, there may be other duties delegated. The dreaded other duties as assigned applies to myself as well. So how can council move forward? Well, going back to my first few statements, council could act by bylaws, resolutions, and policies. And all three provide the authority for administration thereafter to carry out those actions. The Municipal Act may require you to do certain things in a certain way. So the budget is by bylaw, so you need to follow that process. If it's not clear, then usually you could do it by resolution. So there are sometimes requirements in the act to act a certain way. Policies are always great because they enable administration to act quickly if there's an inquiry that comes to administration. It's a decision of council set in policy that we could react to quickly and basically give the resident information right away. As part of council, not only do you sit on regular council meetings, and those are about 2 a month, but there's also a whole bunch of smaller committees. The two main committees that we have are the Public Works Committee, and that includes the utilities as part of the jurisdiction of the Public Works, and planning. Those two meetings, we have 1 a month for each of those, and they could run anywhere from 1 hour to 3 hours, depending how much is on the docket. These meetings are more for information. They are not council meetings where they can make a decision. Those decisions are always made at a regular council meeting. So this is more for information. If you're looking for more than what we presented, please let us know. It gives us a little bit of lead time to find you that information to try to give you the full arms of making a proper decision at the end of the day. There's also other internal committees that we have, the Emergency Committee, Environmental, Finance, Personnel, Recreation and Economic Development will make quarterly reports to council. So it's highly recommended that whoever is on council attend those meetings to stay abreast of what's going on in the municipality. So those are all internal committees, but there's also external committees. Outside of the RM, we participate on quite a few boards, and other municipalities are there with their representatives as well. So as an example, we have the Association of Bilingual Municipality being French in bilingual, because bilingual could mean also Ukrainian, could mean other different languages, but French. With the French history to the municipality, we participate on that. As I mentioned, the McDonald-Richot Planning District, between McDonald and Richot. The Red River Basin basically is a committee that starts from the Fargo-Moorhead area and works its way up all the way to Selkirk, where the river dumps into Lake Winnipeg, I believe. Community Triples Futures Triple R, that's a economic development lending board, the Red River Weed Board, and there's more. So what we try to do with those council members is that we try to split those members equally so they have an equal workload on their plate. And what we try to do is we appoint them for 2 years, and then after 2 years we reevaluate. Do you like what you're doing? Do you want to shift over to a different committee, or are you just done with that committee? So every 2 years we look at doing that. Oftentimes we'll sometimes just put an ad hoc committee if there's a certain topic that comes up and needs to be dealt with. We'll pull a few council members, maybe some members at large, to come in and help and try to address the situation. Now, if you're successful after being elected, there's going to be a lot of information that you're going to have to learn and get familiar with, and that's my duty as administrator to try to bring you folks up to speed with what's going on in the municipality. I'll give you current decisions, let you know what issues are ongoing, and maybe some of the past history leading up to where we are today. So as I indicated, there's council meetings. There's normally 2 per month. There's a morning first Tuesday of the month meeting and a third Wednesday of the month at 7 o'clock. Both of these are regulated, basically, that you need to attend. If you miss 3 consecutives, you may be off of council. The dates for these are adjusted accordingly if there's a holiday or if it conflicts with seminars or presentations going on in Manitoba. Most of these are done within 2 hours, and I will knock on wood and say the next one in September may not. It's the agenda is getting pretty heavy as we speak, so we'll see how that goes, but usually 2 hours. In order to assist you with the meetings, there are agendas that are prepared in advance. We're fortunate that these agendas are electronically, and you have they'll be ready for the Friday before the next meeting. So committee meetings, the internal committees that I've listed vary from time to time, but usually they could meet between 1 to 2 times a month for about 1 hour to 2 hours each. It all depends how involved these committees are in the community, and likewise for the external committees, they vary from organization to organization. From time to time, there are And we just had our first technical difficulty. There you go. Okay. Other time commitments as well. The financial plan. The financial plan is the meat and potatoes of the operations of the municipality. It takes quite a bit of time in order to put a budget together, to review the budget with council, to ensure that there's not pitchforks when we have the public hearing for the budget. So those do take a little bit of time to get up and ready. There's also meetings with provincial governments. I say about once a month. I would say once every 3 months. It all depends how active the municipality is. Times where the connection. What the heck is going on, people? Am I still sharing? But I want to. Okay, oh, perfect. Okay, so sorry for that inconvenience. So there's also municipalities belong to an association called the AMM, the Association of Manitoba Municipalities. So this association has a couple of conferences, one in November, which is about 3 days in length, and one in April. I really like and would recommend highly the councils to attend the April one. These are more seminar presentations, really geared towards education and information for council members. And then we also have a June district meeting, one a year. Just recently, we started to attend the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. They put on a conference every year in June, and the mayor and CAO are authorized to go on a yearly basis. But each councillor is recommended that they try to attend at least one per term. So seeing that there's 4 councillors, 4 years, it's perfect for that rotation to happen. Of course, compensation. There's a new bylaw that council passed. Council had requested a ad hoc committee to review their expenses, their remuneration from the past 4 years, and come up with a new 4-year game plan moving forward. So for annual indemnities for the mayor, it's about $47,800 and per hour rate of $35 an hour. Council is at $27,432 per year, and any extra committee meetings or hours is at $30 an hour. If you're attending and you're gone for the day, it's $350 or $300 based on a 10-hour day. We do pay travel allowance based on the National Joint Council rate moving forward, of course. And as of April, it was 0.515. I believe August just came out, and I think they're at 54, but that will vary from time to time. We also compensate for meals, and there also is a technology allowance for cell phone and internet usage at home. If I haven't scared you away and you're still interested in running for the election, there's some minimum qualifications for candidates, and luckily our SEO is here and she could keep me honest and to the point. that you need to be a Canadian citizen, minimum of 18 years old, either a resident or landowner of the municipality for at least 6 months prior to the election. So if you just moved in July to the great community of St. Adolphe, unfortunately, you will not be able to vote in the upcoming municipal election. And that's dictated in the Municipal Schools and Councils Boards Act. I don't have quite the right name, but it's something of that nature. In order to campaign, a candidate must register first before they could spend money on their campaign. For the mayor's position, that started back in May 1st, and for the council position, that started in June 30th. So there's information packages outlining the requirements of what you need to do there, and those are available at the municipal office or through our senior election official. Once you're registered, you could start going door to door and trying to kiss babies and handshakes and all that good stuff, and fill out what's called your nomination papers. So basically it's people that are supporting you in your run to be nominated and maybe elected as a council member of the municipality. Those papers need to be remitted back to the SEO by in between September 14th and September 20th. After the day of the 4:30 on the 20th, that is when nominations will close. If there's more than 2 nominations for one posting, you could still withdraw your application if you think that you're going to run up against tough competition, or you realize that I really don't want to do this. You have till 4:30 the next day to withdraw your nomination. But if let's just say there's 2 of them and both want to withdraw, whoever withdraws first is maybe the lucky winner. The one who withdraws last, unfortunately, cannot withdraw. So if there's only 1 for the ward, you cannot withdraw your papers. You're stuck with us. And is acclaimed right there and then. Exactly. Yeah. So just in summary, the intent of the presentation wasn't to try to scare off anybody, but to try to give folks out there a better understanding of the role of a council member and what the commitments are in the position. There's also documents online from the province. It's a very good booklet if you want to take time to review it. It's the province candidate guidebook. And for those that are here live, Lise will assume that she's showing it to everybody. So that document is available online. Becoming a member of council is a huge commitment and very much time. Very often it's a thankless job. But other times it can be very rewarding, especially if you like to steer projects towards your community and making that accomplishment. Change is not going to stop. It's just that do you want to continue to be a part of it and help us steer us in the right directions for that. I've had no questions throughout the presentation. I do hope there are some now, and if not, that's fine. As I said, you're not doing it for the money, you're not doing it for the thanks, but you're doing it for prosperity of your community, for hopes that you'll leave good items for the next generation to come. That is my presentation. I thank you for your time, and I'll take any questions, and if not, we'll end the recording. And as I said, this presentation will be posted tomorrow, so you may want to have some good bedtime sleeping material for tomorrow night. So, thank you.